Janet and I reviewed the third film that Clint Eastwood made for the year 1968 to help his mortgage and its financial future. And that movie is none other than the infamous film Coogan's Bluff.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome to today's show. We are going to see something we rarely get to see. Janet, how did you like our movie Coogan's Bluff today with Clint Eastwood, Susan Clark, directed by Don Siegel?
Well, maybe you should talk about it a little bit first.
Okay. I see how this is. Well, this movie's kind of cute because it kind of harkened when I started reading about it. It reminded me of the movie that we love so much that brought me to the fact that sometimes perception is different than reality. And that movie is a film from 1994 with Woody Harrelson, Kiefer Sutherland, Ernie Hudson, The Cowboy Way. And back when I saw it in the theaters, I didn't really care about a movie if it had a good script or if it made sense or if it was rewatchable. I just wanted to have a good time with my friends and just enjoy it, high five each other, and that was it. And for the time in '94, when I was a squid with my other squid friends, we were just looking for a silly movie, and that fit the bill. That fit the bill. But then I watched The Cowboy Way with this lovely lady with me, right next to me on screen, and we watched it again, and I thought, what the fuck am I watching? Ernie Hudson drives a pick 'em up truck straight into a New York bar. He's a cop. There is no judge's order. There's no search warrant. There's no need for this. But yet here we are, and I'm watching it. And back in the day, I would have told you this is almost high cinema indeed. And
And he
the
rides a
reason,
horse also.
uh, yes, and I watched this film, and this movie reminds me of the Cowboy Way because it is a film where a guy from the Southwest must go to New York City and fix something that may be wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the gist of this movie. This is the first collaboration that I know of where Don Siegel and young, strapping Clint Eastwood are put together for a series of films, and this is the first one of those movies.
Mm-hmm.
Now, Clint Eastwood at the time, younger guy, ladies liked him. On set, there's reports that have made their ways to IMDb where wherever Clint was, there was always a party of the fairer sex. There was always women around. And this movie kind of echoes that because the first thing we see is that there's a very young, attractive melody. Uh, there's a young blonde, buxom babe that's giving him a bath. And she is.
Yeah,
She's
she wanted to give him more than that, but he smelled bad.
yeah, he smelled bad. Melody Johnson, the super hot Melody Johnson, is giving him a bath, and she's got her tits out to Jesus, and she's showing everybody what's going on. She looks really damn good,
Mm-hmm.
and this is a fine shot of what we saw with the opening of this movie. This is it. This is what you get when you are watching this movie. There's a love interest of a woman with her memories ready to feed a child of yours. And Clint Eastwood's there to get her ready for this. She wants to sit on the baby batter stick and get things started. But unfortunately, things go to hell because we gotta go to work.
Yeah.
This is the start of the movie. This is how the movie starts.
The thing is, can I interrupt for a second since you got that scene going on?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Well, the thing about that is the opening scene after he chased down the Indian chief and had him chained to her front porch. He decided he needed to get some nookie, fairly, and he knew her husband was out of town, so he went in and he helps himself in the house by using a key that was above the door. And then he goes in, and to me it was very, exciting, kind of the way it led up to it, because you knew he had to know who was in the house, or he wouldn't have done that. And then when you saw the woman laying in a bunk bed, that was it, because she had to be high up, I guess that's why he did it. And then he went down to kiss her, but he kissed her on her boob. He didn't even kiss her on her lips. So you knew that he was looking for a tryst. But then when she wakes up, he asked if her husband's in town, and she said no. So you knew he was a bad boy, because he was sleeping with all the married women in Arizona in their small little, community. Sheriff, as a sheriff from there. So I just wanted to add that to your little thing. And then she's go to make out with him, and she said, "You need a bath," and he goes, "I will after." She said, "No, before." So she didn't put up with no crap from him, and he went and got in the tub and listened to what she was telling him to do, because he wanted some. So he was being a good boy. But I just wanted to add that little tidbit to your.
Yeah, I forgot that the movie actually starts off with the Indian chief singing and hooting and hollering. Clint Eastwood rolls up in a Wrangler, no, a CJ Jeep,
Mm-hmm.
and he gets shot at twice in the windshield, and then he pulls a disappearing act with all the smoke and manages to grab the Indian chief, and then brings him
Dust.
home. Yeah, all the dust.
Yeah.
He manages to ambush the chief and gets a hold of him, takes him back to his house, horny as hell, getting ready to lay Melody Johnson, and then he gets told he has to go to work.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That
That's
is
his
that.
boss. His boss and his second in charge or whatever go driving down the road in the middle of the desert, basically, because they're in Arizona out in the boonies.
And
And
he was
they see his Jeep, and when they notice that there's 2 bullet holes in the windshield, that's when he makes his guy turn around and go find him, because they want to find out what trouble he's gotten into this time. So I just thought the whole beginning part of it kind of got me excited about the rest of the movie. And then the romantic scene at the beginning, him playing around or whatever, and doing what he was told by listening to the woman, by getting in the tub. And that's when this boss comes in and sees that they just help themselves in too, and go right into the bathroom where he's in the bathtub. So I don't know. It's just kind of crazy. Did you get a phone call? I think I thought I heard his phone ring, so maybe he got a phone call. But the whole scene was just really it was funny. I got a good laugh out of it, because here you have his boss telling them he's wanting to know what happened and why that guy's chained out front, handcuffed to the front porch. And he said, well, he couldn't let him go or whatever. So he was going to get something a little on the side. So then that's when the boss tells him, well, I'm going to give you a job, that a one-man show kind of job. So he was wanting to get him out of there, because he was tired of him just going off and doing whatever he wanted when he wanted to. So he sent him. He's the reason why he ends up having to go to New York to bring back a fugitive of the law in Arizona. So that's how he got the position, to be the one was going to go to New York City. So that's what sets up the story for what's about to unfold.
I honestly think if we got somebody talented with Kemp in the chat, if you guys could just get a Judge Dredd helmet on Clint Eastwood, if we could just have that, that would come in handy, because this movie sorely is lacking a little bit of context. Clint Eastwood feels when he goes to New York that he's able to call shots still. He's not, because he's a Arizona guy, even though everybody calls him Tex. That's
because he's wearing cowboy boots and a hat, and he has a little bolo tie on. So most people in New York would see that and think that you're a cowboy. So where do cowboys come from? Oklahoma or Texas. They don't think about Nevada.
If you watch a Cowboy Way, then you know real cowboys come from Arizona. but that's a cowboy wayism,
I
and
thought they said New Mexico
I
in the
thought it
cowboy.
was New Mexico or is it Arizona? I know
I think I
they
thought
got
it
a
was New Mexico, but I could be wrong.
both of us could be wrong. It might be New Mexico actually,
It might be
but
Oklahoma.
those people got really upset that you would accuse a cowboy of being from Texas because no cowboy comes from Texas apparently, which that's kind of hilarious because if you go to Fort Worth, that's the entire town.
Hmm.
Historical context, that's all Fort Worth was. There's still stockyards that are used to this day. Uh, anyway, I love I love certain things about American history and being able to bring it up into our chats that are pertinent. Sorry about that. I got a phone call real quick,
Yeah, I
but
thought you did, so I just went ahead and gapped.
my boss has got stuff going on with a Chinese restaurant and no, not a Chinese restaurant, it's a soup factory.
Hmm.
And damn it all, if they aren't having the worst problems, now they've got another problem on their hands. But oh well, that's what Mondays are for, guys. I told you, fucking take Sunday off. This shit working on Sundays for the birds. It's for a day of rest. Nobody listens to me. Anyway, film that.
Oh, sorry. I had to turn my phone on so I could talk to anyone who might be in my chat.
Okay, so with that, um, this movie seemed like it was kind of a shit show at first because like the first thing that the cop gets to do that he wants to do, you know, Clint Eastwood, Coogan, he wants to make out with little hot to trot girl in the bunk bed, and the movie doesn't really go. It feels like it's in that same time frame, and what was it? The
Hays
Hayes law, yeah, the
The
Hayes
Hays
Code,
Code
and and
recently
and
passed. This was in 1968, right?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
you've got the Hayes Code, which was just kind of lifted, and so everybody's going hog wild on scripts on what you can do, what you can push, and it reminds me of like in the '90s, like we couldn't get enough gay in our TV shows. We couldn't. There was every show had to have a gay character. Ellen DeGeneres is everywhere, and next thing you know is that this film once again has this Hayes Code uh, abolition thrown all over it like a Jackson Pollock. And
Yeah.
this is where Janet, I'm going to just let you take over because there's some scripting issues here and there. Like whenever Lenny and Coogan started making out, I was kind of like, okay, it's 1968. That's all I'm going to say because we
Well,
just
the
saw
thing is,
like
everything
for
was great until he got off the plane in New York. And then he goes in, and he's all spiffy, and clean cut looking and shaved and everything. And he goes in to talk to the chief of police, in New York, where he's supposed to go and pick up his prisoner.
and the chief
So
of police
he
said very well
waits, he gets in, and he ends up telling them, well, you can't have him right now. He's basically in the drunk tank at the hospital because he had been on LSD, and they have all these procedures you have to follow because they have psychotic episodes and things like that when they're withdrawing from drugs, hard drugs. And because of him being from Arizona in the small little area, he wasn't like understanding all these rules and regulations they have in the huge city of New York, right? So he was like, I don't want to wait around. I want to get my guy and go back home. And he said, no, you can't. You have to wait. We have things we have to do here. We have papers to fill out and procedures to follow because he was by the book. At least his character seemed like he was a by the book character, which I liked him. I thought he was really good in the position they gave him in this movie. I'm trying to remember what his name is. Hold on. I got to go to the
Cobb.
Yeah, Cobb. So the thing is that he did a good job. I thought he was really believable for the part that he played. Very hard nosed, to the grindstone type of person. You'd have to be that to have a huge department like he had in New York City, right? But Coogan doesn't want to do that. He doesn't want to wait around because he didn't even get a hotel, and the only thing he brought was his suitcase. He didn't even bring a new change of clothes. clean underwear, a toothbrush, nothing. He didn't bring any, take nothing. So that made you think that he was backwoods from this, the small town he came from Arizona, basically. So you get that whole thing going on. And then he gets there, and here comes this. He goes in the office to see this other, that the chief of police or whatever, and that's when he sees this gorgeous redhead standing there, and then she sits on the edge of the desk, and she's talking to a gentleman, which we think is a cop, okay, because he's wearing a jacket, a sports jacket, and his hair's not real long, but it's a little bit shaggy or whatever. And he's talking to him, and then the guy, he just turns and he's listening, and he lights a cigarette. He's smoking everywhere too. That's another thing. It was so neat. Pointing guns at everyone. Exactly what Hardwick was saying about the Hays Code to us when we were all discussing the movie, because remember I read that one, the rules they weren't allowed to do. They weren't allowed to point guns at people. They weren't allowed to show a man and a woman like basically having sex in a bed. They weren't allowed to do a bunch of stuff. They weren't allowed to be doing drugs.
Couldn't show them sleeping in the same bed together. They had to have 1 foot out of the bed.
Floor. Yeah, it was just all these rules, and you could tell. Now that he said that, it's like all this stuff's popping up in my head about why they just crammed everything in that you could possibly put in a movie that they weren't allowed to do for so long, because they did all of it. They were pointing guns at everyone. They were shooting at everybody. There was boobs and ass and full frontal nudity at that one club. They were just putting everything in there. They were throwing everything in the kitchen sink.
I remember you enjoyed the first introduction to the police officers or the police station, because that one creepy fuck was just there grabbing on Susan Clark's boob the whole time.
Well, he touches her because she was wearing this real pretty pendant, and he's like, "Oh, I really like this one," and he was flicking it like that, on her chest, but it was right here on her boob, and then he just grabs her boob, and she just sits there. So I was like, "What the?" Because I would have slapped him, whoever he was, and she didn't. She just said, "That's enough," or whatever. Took his hand off. She was trying to be extra nice to her coworker. That's what I was thinking. And after all that happened, then Clint Eastwood just says, "I think she told you not to do that," or something like that. So he's like barging into the conversation to stand up for her as a woman, right? That's what I was thinking was going on. And so he ends up getting the guy upset, and the guy gets up and runs out. And there's a whole line of people, like 20 people standing in line. We don't know what they're there for. I guess to meet her or go into the other office that the door they were standing in front of. But then she gets mad and yells at Clint Eastwood's character about, "You ran him off. It took me forever to get him to come in here." And he's because she's find out during this whole scene that supposedly she's like this therapist, like psychotherapist, and these are all people that she's trying to help to get them to come in and whatever else. And then later on, which didn't make sense, we find out that she only deals with women. Well, why is she dealing with this guy then? I don't know.
That was a plot hook.
It made no sense.
Plot fail that I thought could have been redone.
Yeah, there was a lot of bad mistakes in the script. It didn't have any ins or outs. Nothing really connected about their characters. The one day they're doing one thing and the next day they're doing something totally different. It was like they didn't even know who they were, because either everyone was drunk or everyone was on drugs or things like that in New York. They just made everyone look like they were all pieces of shit. I didn't like it.
There's 2 scenes in this movie I really like. Mm-hmm. I like the scene where they peek their head out the window and you see the matinees of all the theater houses.
Mm-hmm.
Because for me, that right there, if nothing else, exemplifies early 70s, late 60s New York.
Yeah.
It's everywhere you're looking. Like if you want to go to a show, just there's 12 of them down this sidewalk. And it's in this movie. They show you in this movie. The start of the movie Shaft is really good for that. As he's walking.
Yeah, I remember that. That was a good scene.
That shot right there where that's going on, that was so fucking good. Mm-hmm. But this movie, there's two scenes that I really love, and that's one of them. Uh, I could understand where if I had been a young kid, how I thought the pool hall scene would have been really fucking good. That would have been, oh man, he really showed them. But ever since then, we've had movies like The Raid and anything Jet Li's ever touched, or
Mhm.
anything that John Woo has directed. Those have come out since then. Now, this movie kind of set the blueprint for it, but it's a bad blueprint. It's really just a fuzzy negative, and that's kind of what we followed in action cinema for the next 25 years. Because this movie, it felt like at some parts, I felt like I was watching the second Dirty Harry film, where he's going against the motorcycle gang that are on the down low from Hal Jordan, I believe was the actor's name, the police commissioner that uh, Clint Eastwood tells a man has to know his limitations, and then he threw the bomb in the back of his car as he's driving off and explodes the bomb and takes out the corrupt police
I
boss.
didn't see any resemblance at all in
I,
this
I,
movie.
I felt this movie
I
like
thought
when you
Dirty
watch
Harry
the
was
Dirty
like
Harry
1,000 times better than this
when
movie.
you watch the Dirty Harry films, you're gonna see some DNA from this film go into it. You're gonna see it because
Maybe we'll
this
see.
movie felt like they were trying to get to Dirty Harry, but they didn't know really how to do it. And the director of photography kept falling in love with the fucking psychedelic dance floor when they're at the dance hall. And for like 3 minutes, we've got all the colors of the rainbow on the screen. And there's some weird person outside my window trying to watch TV with purple hair going, "Oh my God, you are LGBT." And I'm like, get the fuck away from my TV. I mean, it's just
Well,
fucking
one
chicken.
thing I was
It's
surprised with,
amazing. It's an amazing amalgamation of filming styles and the lack of a cohesive script that made this movie what it is. And for years, this movie was considered to be a high watermark.
Mhm.
Go ahead, Janet.
I was just going to say one thing that it surprised me was when you see Clint Eastwood standing there, a tall drink of water, like somebody would say from the South, because of his cowboy hat and his bolo tie and his boots and his slim suit is very well fitted, but it wasn't too tight like they wear today. Like I think some of the guys wear their suits so tight you could. I don't know. I just think it looks stupid. It's very uncomfortable. You look like you're just like you can't breathe or anything because it doesn't fit properly. But you see in the group of people that are standing there, two guys, two I guess gay guys because they're like ooh, like checking him out, like he's really hot. So you get that little twist in that one scene because they're in New York, so that New York is like got everything. It's got the freaks, the party animals, the rich, it's got the trashy people, that live in the slums. They got everything in New York. So it was like they were trying to give you a taste of everything you could possibly think of in New York in this movie. We're just throwing everything in it, everything they could. And I think it just went too far in that direction for my taste. And as the movie progressed, I thought it got worse and worse and worse. I just thought it was horrendous. I just had a hard time getting into it and liking the characters. It was just, and the reason it started was, you want me to tell that part of it?
Absolutely.
Okay. You see him be all chivalrous like he is in his other spaghetti Western movies. Yes, he was a bad guy, but he still had a decent bone in his body. He seemed to be respectable in some aspects, of how he treated others, in the other movies. And that's one reason why I think his movies were so successful in that area because of that. Whoops, sorry. The shirt's like getting low. I'm trying to pull it up some. But the one thing that I thought was sad about this was the fact that he steps in to help the girl that's getting groped by that guy, and then he runs off, and then she chews him out for it because she says she's a therapist and she was trying to help him, and it took her forever to get him in there. Well, then they end up going to lunch because she kind of is interested in finding out who this cop is and why he's there, and he's he's interesting because she's a city girl and he's a country boy, basically. So you could see that, her mind clicking a little bit, wanting to get to know more about him. And he's like, you think because of what had happened just now that he's one of those clean cut guys that, is going to take her out to dinner or whatever. So they end up sitting there, and it seems like they're there for quite a while because the waiter comes and says, "Here's your bill," and he's standing there waiting for them to leave because they're the only ones left in the restaurant, basically. And she's like, "Well, I need to go. I got things I got to do at home or whatever." So she opens her little purse and she's starting to get money out. And he goes, "What are you doing?" And she goes, "Well, I'm going to pay Dutch or whatever." And he goes, "No, I'm paying," or whatever. And she was like, wow, she was really impressed by him because he's such a gentleman. Here he stood up for her with the other guy groping her. And then now he's paying for their meal. Okay. So she's looking at him like, wow, he's a real catch or whatever. But she's still, just trying to find out more about him. So they start walking and he ends up going back to her apartment. Now, when the scene opens, when they're in the apartment, all of a sudden you see his boots. It's zoomed in on his boots. So you assume that they're together already because his boots are off. Well, then the camera backs out a little bit and you see the fact that he's got his feet up on the coffee table and he's relaxed, and then she calls him, Mr. Coogan or whatever, right? She didn't say it. He goes, "Well, you don't have to be so formal and call me Mr." She said, "Well, I don't know your first name." He goes, "Just call me Coogan." Right. So you could see they were like getting relaxed and getting to know each other type of thing, which was all normal and what I expected for his character. But then he ends up they get a drink. She fixes him a drink and brings it to him. And then he gets up and goes and sits on the couch with her. And then he starts moving in, like he's going to give her a kiss or whatever. But it's not enough. No matter how many times she pushes him away or gets up and goes somewhere else, he follows her around like a dog in heat, basically. And he's not going to take no for an answer. So the only thing that saves her from him, like all women I know have been on the octopus date where you're out with a guy and he's constantly grabbing you, even though you said, "Please, no, no, I'm not going to do that right now," or whatever. Because you just don't even know this person, but yet they think that, oh well, I paid for a meal, she's gonna give me some, period, whatever, those kind of guys. And that's how I felt. I felt like he was pushing himself on her, even though she kept saying no. And then the phone rang, and it was one of her patients, and she said, "Oh, you're coming over in 5 minutes? You'll be here in 5 minutes." And so he gets his boots and his hat and his briefcase and he leaves. So that was the only reason she got a reprieve from him. And after that, I just had a hard time with it because here's a guy that supposedly I guess he was faking that he gave a shit about whether this guy was groping her, because he just said, "Well, this is my opportunity to be the one to sleep with her, not someone else." So I just took it like that. And I just thought I just didn't like his character after that. It was really hard for him to get past him pushing himself on her that hard. I mean, if a guy has to push that hard just to get laid every time, something's not right. I would not want to see him again if it'd been me. But that I just didn't like that part of the movie. It took his character way down for me compared to the other movies that I'd already seen so far. Just telling you.
I really enjoyed parts of this movie because I could see where there's something good coming down the pipe. And then there's other parts of this film where I just was thinking, like, what the fuck is this? Like there was some serious whiplash between parts hither and yon, and then the worst part is how well this movie was received in the interim between the point of release and now here we are, 2026. Not saying that like we're a more elevated species or anything, but I got to say that I'm not really offended every time I see somebody light up inside. I think it's kind of nice. It reminds me of how the world used to be when it was normal. But I really like the guy just like going from groping on the brooch. Let me see the brooch. I want to see the brooch. To I think I put my hand all over your boob. He does it like 3 times.
But he doesn't even take his hand off. He just keeps squeezing on.
He keeps squeezing like a fucking tomato at the grocer.
It was gross.
I
It was
mean,
over.
I wouldn't say it was gross. It's kind of a normal thing for a guy to do, but I mean, on camera
Not
in
like
public, you're
that
not
in a
supposed to do
room
that.
full of guys standing in line. It was an office in the police
Yeah,
department. I
yeah.
mean, come
Yeah, you're
on.
not supposed to do
It
that.
was
I'm not
way out
supposed
of
to do that in
place.
public.
It was obscene. It was just
It was
gross.
fairly disgusting.
Yeah.
But the guy came off like a super creeper, and
Mhm.
like the uncle on Facebook. But I've got to say that like
The
this is not
bad
exactly
uncle.
it's just one of the instances of whiplash that I experienced watching this movie. And there's a lot of that in this film where it goes from like, hey, the last 4 minutes wasn't that bad. This is pretty. Oh God, what the fuck is this? A rape scene? I mean, and that's kind of how it goes. The movie has some uneven pacing. The script is shit. There's parts of the film where I was wondering why, and one of those main parts was you got the POS that Clint Eastwood, that Coogan's going after. He's got his little main squeeze, played by Tisha Sterling, and she's just a doll in this movie. She is the perfect like foil in this film, and she does a good job of playing Lenny Raven. But when she meets up with
Oh, you're
Coogan,
talking about the little blonde that I was trying to dress up like her because I didn't know there was even a redhead in the movie. I didn't even see her pictures because I went and looked through the pictures because I hadn't seen the movie before. So I was trying to dress up a little bit like the girl that was at the prison or whatever,
sure,
the jail where they had the one prisoner. That's
sure.
why I wore
Like
short
here,
hair and all that stuff.
here's a still with her and some other cohorts from the old TV series Batman.
Yeah,
That's her right there. She plays Lenny in
yeah.
this film,
Hmm.
and she does a really good job. I really think she plays a good character. I don't think she's a good character, but she plays a fun character in this
She's a
movie.
hippie.
Yeah,
She does acid and she smokes pot and she's very loose and friendly. She
guy
sleeps
with
with whatever guy that she thinks is attractive or shows her attention or whatever, that type of thing. And she
that
did a
the
good job
attention.
playing that character. But the fact that you see our supposed, spaghetti western, guy, now he's just playing a sheriff to go there and pick up this fugitive from justice, and he's going against the cops because they don't want to give it to him. But then as soon as he sees her in the jail with his prisoner as a druggie, and she's talking about having a green worm in her head that glows and all this kind of shit, and then he goes to her apartment by stealing the address while the girl he was just trying to get in bed with, okay, after he supposed saved her from the groper, and then he tries to get in bed with her, and he goes through her cabinet and looks for the other girl's address and goes to her house, and then he sleeps with her. It's like, he's just gross. He's just a gross character. He's a womanizing pig that when he doesn't get what he wants, he just takes it. You know what I mean? He just pushes his weight around because he's Clint Eastwood. That's what I felt this movie was like, and it was like he had to make another movie for his contract or something. Like I was saying, they do that a lot, and so he just gave them what they wanted, another movie. He didn't care how bad it was, and he was able to sleep with, grope all the women, make out with women, naked women, or it was tons of women in this movie, and it was like, I don't know, the music was terrible. I hated the soundtrack. It didn't go
Soundtrack was
with
good,
the
I thought.
scenes. Okay, it
The
was like
soundtrack,
real loud when it wasn't supposed to, and it wasn't. You couldn't even hear it in some scenes. So it was like whoever did the soundtrack just did not click it with the what was happening in the scenes. Like I was trying to explain, when you're in a scene where you want to build up the romance, it's like real sexy and it's slow and it brings them together. It draws you into the what's about to happen between the man and the woman. It's like, oh yeah, it's getting nice and juicy in here or whatever, right? The feelings start to come out. Or it starts going boom, boom, dumpa, dumpa, like something big's about to happen, and then you go, I'm gonna beat the fuck out of you. It brings you into the fight and does all this different stuff. That's what the score is supposed to do, draw you into the scenes or keep you waiting for something bad to happen, whatever it's supposed to. But I didn't get any of that. It just kept saying, I go, what the hell is this music? It just kept taking me out of the scene
it,
because
it
it's just bad.
does that. throughout the entire movie. Throughout the entire movie, you'll be going along,
Hated it.
and
It
if
was
you could have
so bad.
a scoreless film would have been so much better than what we got because the
Mhm.
score is really good, but it is completely out of sync with what's going on the screen. And it you actually the editing that you usually go, you usually go to the editing. The first thing that Janet goes to whenever she wants to beat up on a film, she goes to the editing person and gets them in the
Usually,
kidneys.
this time I didn't
Usually,
at
well,
all.
no, and you should completely go to the editing on this and be like, you're responsible for fucking sound mixing. This is ass.
That's
And
totally different from the editing group. Sound is a separate group. They do this, and then after the movie's been put together, then the sound effects people like do the horses, like you know what I'm talking about. They add a soundtrack to it, or they dub in the words to a foreign
the
film.
ADR.
Not the same thing as editing, where the scene is supposed to go into the next one and there's a smooth transition, like what I just said earlier. When you see all of a sudden in the room there, they went back to her apartment, all of a sudden the scene opens from fade to black out from his boots, so first thing you're thinking is, oh, he's already in bed with her, right? But then as the screen gets bigger, he's sitting with his feet on the coffee table. That's good editing. It edited to make you think something and it wasn't. You see what I mean? So that was smooth. I didn't see any clips where it was like all of a sudden he's just standing there by the bed with his pants off. I don't know. It was smooth. It transitioned from one scene to the other the way it's supposed to.
I'm just going to say the sound mixing in this movie,
Yeah,
when
bad.
they went to mix the score with what was going on,
Toad orange
that
peel.
right there,
Oh my God. It was
completely
horrible.
out of whack. And the rest of the movie is not that horrible on a tech level. There are some definite homages to the Sign of the Times in this movie because, like I said, the director of photography really loves the psychedelic dance floor. When they get to that scene, he can't get away from it. He always takes the camera down there, or they always re-edit shots where they're staring directly into the dance floor. It's like the sun of this
all
movie.
different colors, and you see at least 50 extras dancing on the floor out there in all psychedelic clothes and crazy hairstyles, go-go boots. It's got everything. It's really exciting. But as it pans up and goes around to the people, they're snorting coke and they're smoking joints. They're all into drugs and they're all dressed and look like hippies. And they talk like that. Talking smack to each other, and they're just. I just had a hard time with it. Then you see him walking, and it's zoomed in on his face. Okay, the sheriff, he's walking through the place looking for the little blonde hippie, okay, before he sleeps with her. This is when he went out looking for her after he got the address from the other woman that turned him down because she decided she was going to go cook, right? Make him spaghetti or whatever. So that wasn't fun enough. So he had to go find some fun, basically. So he's walking, and you hear that weird psychedelic music and that crazy song, Pigeon Toed Orange Peel or whatever it was, some stupid song. And then you see him walking, and the camera can see things going by, and you got little flashes of nakedness. It's like one lady sitting there with no top on, and she's got drawings all over with flowers, psychedelic.
Well, what about the girl that zip lines down from the ceiling into Coogan's
real pretty
arms?
black girl. It's all painted up with giant, gorgeous eyelashes and neon colors. Yeah,
she had the original cumbrellas.
Yeah. Yes. She zoomed right into him. I mean, she was on him like like.
I would love to
right
have
on
a
Bryce.
magnet girlfriend like that. That would be fun.
Yeah, she was smoking hot too. She was very pretty, beautiful body. You could tell she was a good dancer, but she was body painted, but she was completely nude.
Oh no! What a terrible thing. Let me go check this out.
There was a lot of women nudity in this movie. Yes.
There's
lots of boobies.
It's the Hays Code. We got rid of it. We just have it. Now it's labeled a rated R.
Yeah, there was lots and lots of that. There was a couple of gay couples in there too that were making out and checking him out as he walked by because he was still wearing his, nice suit with a hat, with the bolo tie, and the cowboy boots. And he was getting lots of looks from lots of the guys that were like, "Ooh, I want to ride a cowboy." You know, you could tell by the way they were acting and stuff. So that whole scene was pretty good. That one and the scene where they had the fight in the pool hall, that was a really good scene. So there were good. I'm not saying the whole movie was shit. I'm just saying it just was going all over the place, like they were just cramming stuff into it to get us to make a movie. You know, a lot of stuff just didn't go together. That's when it wasn't the editing. The editor to me in this movie did the best they could with what was handed to them. I mean, you can take a turd, you could paint it and polish it and put all kinds of stuff, but guess what? When you look at it, it's still a turd, right? Just a lot of fancy glitter and stuff on it doesn't make you still want to be with it. You know, it's still a turd. And that's how I feel about this movie. But trying to tell the truth.
I really like what I saw with this movie though. It does foretell of a lot of things to come that you're going to get in theater in the next quarter century. I honestly feel that was. I mean, that's the only thing about this movie that I really truly like. You got Clint Eastwood doing Clint Eastwood, which this is like the first that we see of Dirty Harry.
Yeah.
And later, this movie kind of gets reworked into a show called McCloud with Dennis Weaver.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's kind of a neat, kind of like it's a preamble or a prelude of greatness to come. But we got to work through all the '60s wonkiness and culture bullshit first.
Mm-hmm.
And boy, there's the entire movie is just wonkiness and culture bullshit. This is the lowest movie that Janet will probably ever run until we do Willy's Wonderland. And we'll have to have a special guest episode with our friend James, because I got to balance you two out. You absolutely derive. You complain about the film that movie is recorded on, and James thinks that Willy's Wonderland is the most manly and best movie to come out of Hollywood in 20 years.
Is that why he made that comment in the chat the other night?
Yes. It's because I told him, I'm like, whenever Janet talks about the movie Willy's Wonderland, you see her eyes go back to the Battle of Da Nang when the trees are talking.
Well, I can only talk about 10 minutes of it, because after 10 minutes, I turned it off because it was so bad.
It's just a horrible movie for Janet. And everyone else that I know that saw this movie, they just accepted it as schlock. Like, it's schlock, yeah, whatever, no big deal. You talk about it, and you talk about it the same way. Talk about, like, what the fuck was the scriptwriter doing when he was making this god-awful film called G.I. Jane, this miserable social science fiction movie.
You didn't have to watch it. You could have said no.
Oh, no. I had to watch it because
I watched Meat Train and all these other movies that I really didn't like.
But you didn't rate Meat Train 25%. I rated G.I. Jane 25% because there's only one part of that movie that I thought was at least rewatchable.
I know.
And that's the part when she's
doing the GPS stuff.
Because the second lieutenant, a compass and a map, you're guaranteed to lose an entire battalion if they follow that person.
Mm-hmm.
It's a thing. It's a fucking real life occurrence. And they made it in the movie, which I thought, like, the movie, I seriously thought it was going to, like, show me boss babe bullshit, which it really didn't. But it tried to, because it was 1997. They didn't know how to do boss babe bullshit. But if they would have waited, like, a few years, they could have really done well. They could have put fucking, who's the girl that's the equalizer, the fat black woman that she can't have a running scene because she huffs and chuffs too much?
Oh, she was
should
in
have had
Chicago.
her Queen Latifah.
Queen Latifah, yeah, she was in Chicago.
She should have been G.I. Jane. That would have made that movie a fuck ton better and much more accurate for what they're going for if they're going to go for absolute bullshit. Anyway, Janet, do you know what movie we're watching next week?
No.
Well, we're not going to watch Coogan's Bluff.
We already watched that.
We're not going to rewatch Coogan's Bluff.
Good.
There was 2 weeks way back in the beginning where we talked about a thing 2 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
And that was like the planning.
I love the thing. We already watched.
We watched it. We'll have to watch it again together. I love that movie. Whenever you come over, we'll have to watch it. I'll
It was
hold you.
great. I love The Thing. It's one of my. Remember, it's in my top 10 movies.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Nope. Next week we're watching the 1969 classic, Paint Your Wagon.
You already watched it.
Oh, damn it. Oh, damn it. Okay. Fuck. Well, we have to go for 2 mules for Sister Sarah then.
Hey, I like that one. I got to watch it.
Yeah, I just didn't mark off Paint Your Wagon.
Mhm.
Okay, 2 mules for Sister Sarah is going to be next week's film.
Okay.
My rating for this movie, before I just let Janet rant, because you got to give her flowers, guys. Come on. I'm going to rate Coogan's Bluff a 60%. I'm going to give Hang 'em High a rework score of 55, because I like parts of that movie, but the more I think about it, I really don't like the script. There's a character in there that if he would have played the bad guy, the monocle wearing piece of shit, the judge would have been great to be that guy, but the judge wanted instead to turn Oklahoma into a state. No, you miserable fag. Don't do that. And that movie, it had some good stuff to it, but I really never want to watch Hang 'em High again. I thought if I have to watch it again, it'll be with like my mom or my dad. Like, oh, they're over 75. They really like this movie. You got to watch it with them. God damn it, I don't want to watch it. Fine, be the last time I have to watch this movie. Fine, whatever.
Yeah.
That sort of thing. But like if I'm going through the channels and I see Hang 'em High, flip, go past that. Go past that. Oh wait, you got a movie cast. You're watching an entire movie with all your friends. We're doing G.I. Jane together with Queen Latifah. Okay, I'll stop for that. I'll make fun of this shit. That's what you pay me for. Anyway, I honestly don't want to watch Hang 'em High again. I'll watch The Good, the Bad, the Ugly. I'll definitely watch for a few dollars more, and I'll definitely watch A Fistful of Dollars again. But Coogan's Bluff and Hang 'em High, they're really not in my top 20 or even my top 40 Clint Eastwood films at all. Coogan's Bluff scores is 60% for me, 3 out of 5 stars. There's a hint of stuff to come that's going to be good. The sound is not horrible during the fight scene in the pool hall. I was listening for fuck ups whenever they were smacking pool sticks to bodies, or pool sticks would smack into the parts of the structures. I'm listening for the props to not sound right. This prop sounded good. The only part of the movie that sounds like ass is the soundtrack. And don't believe Janet when she says the soundtrack sucks. It's really the soundtrack is misappropriated. It's mistimed.
Yeah, that's what I think.
It's a good soundtrack. It's just not where it should be. It's either one scene too early or a scene too late, or they've got like Al Gore dancing on camera, and they just need a jive tune out there. Oh wait, here we got this. That's the literal how the movie really is with when it treats the soundtrack. It has the wrong thing at the wrong time out there, and putting Al Gore on the dance floor would have been the perfect way to express how this movie's soundtrack jives with this serious movie of how Clint Eastwood was just sent to New York City to have sex with every eligible female. And incidentally, if you could bring back this one piece of shit to do that. Susan Clark shows off very little of her acting chops. Actually, she doesn't ever really do that in a movie that I can remember, even though she's instrumental in the film The Forbin or Colossus, The Forbin Project, which came out a couple years later. She doesn't really do as much as I want her to. She's there in that movie too. She's on screen. If you want to watch her finer acting moments, you really just got to go to the old Webster TV show where she gets to act with her husband, Alex Karras, at the time, who played Mongo in one of the greatest movies of all time, Blazing Saddles. She gets to act with her husband with this little boy, Emmanuel Lewis, and they have a blended home, and she really gets to be an actress. That's the best that it ever gets for her, in my opinion. Maybe I'm wrong.
Too busy trying to act. When she was trying to act in this movie, every scene that she was in, she was with Clint, and he was trying to kiss her, so or hug her or grope her or whatever. So she really didn't get a chance to do anything except for fight off him. So
Yeah.
she didn't get the chance to do anything. So that's how I saw it.
Yeah, this movie's kind of like if you have like here's a cop movie, or here's a movie about cops, and then we put all those stereotypical cop situations that should be in a cop movie. The only thing missing in this movie is a scene where Clint Eastwood goes to the strip joint, has a lap dance, and the young miss on his lap, wiggling on his baby batter applicator, tells him where he needs to go next, and then he gives her $20 and a good solid 6 inches. That's the only thing missing from this film. Everything else that you will ever see in a cop movie is here. It's just horribly scripted. It's shoestringed together. They have it hogtied, taking you. They have the audience hogtied. There you go. That's how our friend Janet was throughout the whole movie. She was hogtied watching this movie, not believing that she's watching this was actually a film they gave a budget to. She told me she was like on page 4 of her things wrong with this movie, and she wasn't done yet. And I was
Couldn't
laughing.
quite quick enough.
You if that th- this movie, if you go through it and do cinema sins for this film, good luck. I hope you don't have any tennis elbow going on. I hope that you had your joint chondritin for the day. You got your turmeric and your black pepper, and you've got your drink with your ginger in it, and all the antioxidants are firing, and all your nerves are calm, because you're going to be there for a volume. There's a lot of mess ups in this movie. This is an early blueprint of what's to come, though,
Mhm.
and that's how I view this film. It's not a really good film. If you want to see something, this is kind of like when you first watch Dark Star and you're high on some really bad skunk weed, and you're like, man, there were some really cool parts to that movie. I just can't remember all of it. I remember there was a fucking bomb and there was a beach ball. What else happened? Well, there's a lot of things that happen in Dark Star, but it's all science fiction gobbledygook, and it wasn't really well done.
Mhm.
But let me tell you the important parts. And then later on, there's Star Wars, and John Carpenter does more movies, and those are really good. And it was just a promise of good shit to come. Just let us get this crap to film, so later we're bankable. That's literally how I view this film. And I can't look at this movie as a serious movie. I'm not looking at it the same way I look at Hang 'em High. Hang 'em High had almost the same problems. You have a TV show which was given a movie slot, and then should have stayed a TV movie, not a theatrically released movie. There's some really good shots in that movie. There's some really good things in that movie. But then there's some parts of that movie that I would not have scripted myself. I would not have put to script. I wouldn't have had characters do those things. Hang 'em High is a flawed movie, seriously flawed. But this movie here, that it's the same way. And the best movie we've seen so far out of Clint up to this point, 1968, probably Paint Your Wagon. Do you agree with me or do you disagree?
Well, I really liked Paint Your Wagon. I thought it was really good considering the kind of movie it was. And to
I
see him in that type of movie, I know he can act. And now
I
I know he
actually
can
need to
sing.
retract that. Paint Your Wagon in our series of Clint Eastwood films is the best that Clint Eastwood's shown us yet. Absent from the list of
Not to
movies that we've
me.
been watching,
I thought he
uh,
was good in it, but it wasn't his best movie so far that
no,
I
no,
saw.
no.
It was the second one. The second
The,
movie
the
is my favorite so far.
the best movie that Clint Eastwood has released so far up to 1968 is the fucking classic Where Eagles Dare. And we watched that 3 years ago,
Hmm.
and we never had heard of it before, and I didn't know that that movie existed. And Clint Eastwood plays a badass, and you've got some real, like, if you dig into the movie, there's some real juicy drama that goes on behind the scenes. because
Mm-hmm.
Clint Eastwood, he's kind of the same libertarian asshole he is today.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the actors there, they're kind of more on the red side. They're in the Red Green Alliance, if you want to call it that. But they they really they were disappointed because Clint Eastwood was such a promising young man from Rawhide, and here we have him in Where Eagles Dare. If you haven't seen Where Eagles Dare, you gotta give that a show. You got to give that 2 hours of your life because that's a really good Clint Eastwood movie. This one here, it just has the stuff in it that you'll see later, but it'll be better done. I promise you. Go ahead, Janet. Rip
Okay,
it
well,
open.
what was your score?
My score for this movie is 60.
Okay, a 6. Okay, 60. All right. Well, I'm going to start off by saying, um, for a movie that's supposed to, I was told by people, it was basically a cop going against the establishment or something like that, of the establishment of the other cops in another city about the way they run things because he chose to run it his way. I didn't see it like that at all because here's a guy that goes against all the rules and he gets the guy by lying to get him out, and threatening the guard basically by saying, I'm going to call the judge, the Supreme Court judge, and I'm going to call this guy because they're the ones that sent me here. And so he does that. He gets the guy, and as soon as he's leaving, he gets beat up, and the guy escapes. And the only reason he escaped is because he broke the rules. He didn't follow procedures. He didn't do what he was supposed to. And he's lucky that he didn't go and get a gun and go kill a bunch of people. You know, that didn't happen. He just went and hid because he was out all whacked out on LSD or whatever. And then the fact that they had all these people that were willing to beat people and shoot people or fight people to keep from their friend or whatever from being caught. And I just didn't understand why this guy was so, you know, popular with these people. He had no money. He was holed up in some kind of like old church place, and it just didn't make any sense. The reason this guy was so popular, and he goes in there to get him, and this hot, good looking blonde is there with him with legs, you know, that go to the, you know, go all the way up or whatever you want to call it. She's really pretty and stuff, but she's a druggie herself, and that's why she's hanging out with him. And then that's in the psych ward at the hospital, and she's all decked out and all pretty, you know. I just thought that was funny, and she had jewelry on and everything. When usually you're in the psych ward, you wouldn't be able to have your shoestrings or, you know, or anything. So I don't know. It just was so many bad things in the movie that just didn't make any sense. It kind of took you out, and you're like, well, what? The only part of the soundtrack that I thought was any good was the part in the club. You know, that music went along with it, but it seemed like for some reason that somebody had made the soundtrack, and that instead of putting it on there like they had made it, they flipped it. So they started it from the end and put it in there, and it just was off key through the whole thing. It was going up and down. It was like it didn't fit. It took you out of the scene. It was just a bad the way it was put into the movie. I just didn't agree with that at all. It took me out of all the scenes except the fight scene. It was real upbeat, so you really didn't take you out of the fight. You know, it didn't take you out of the scene. So that one wasn't too bad. It wasn't too noticeable. But all the other ones where they're supposed to be just walking down the street, it was like bum 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 bum, and he's just walking along, not going to do anything or nothing. It just didn't make any sense. It was like the lead up to Jaws about to attack somebody, but he's just walking down the street to nothing. You know, it was like it just didn't fit. It was really, really bad. It was off key. It just didn't. It took me out of the movie and really, really ruined it for me. That was one of the things. I didn't like his character because he wasn't a good, decent guy. He wasn't a cop that I wanted to root for. He's going to get a bad guy, and all he's doing is jumping women, sneaking stuff out, using women, a good woman, a decent woman that was a doctor, and getting information from her so he can go get this other girl. And then he takes her, a psych patient, basically, that's on drugs, and then he sleeps with her in her apartment. You know, it was just nothing fit for him to be some guy going against the establishment, not like what you think. He was a bad cop. He just did what he wanted, and nobody liked him because he couldn't work well with others. It wasn't like Mel Gibson's Lethal Weapon type of going against the establishment. You know, that he was doing it because he's a little off kilter. But it was because he did it because he was a self-centered pig. I mean, I couldn't get I couldn't figure out why he was doing it. And that's the only thing I could think of, basically. And he finally learned his lesson at the end, maybe, you know what I mean? Because he said, I'll wait, when he's waiting to get the guy and go through all the loops you have to go through to get your prisoner and take him back. You know what I mean? So he did that at the very end. But that's basically all we got at the end, was the fact that he's taking this guy back with him. But I just want to read two different other people had posted their review, and was so much what I was feeling, and I felt good because I felt vindicated when I read some of these, because I was just scrambling after I was reading these while Bruce and them were talking about it, and they were saying a lot of good things about the movie, and I was just going, this, I didn't say shit because I had to wait till I calmed down a little bit, because I just thought it was so terrible. And I don't really like to bash movies that much. And usually when I do, it's not the actors, it's not the people that find the locations, it's, you know, it's not the makeup or the wardrobe or the director, or really all the people that work to put the movie together. It's all ruined because of the editor, or it's all ruined because you had one producer that had to put their kid in the movie, or some other dumb thing that takes it down from a 10 or a 9 or an 8 down to a 6, because they were forced to have to do something against, you know, what they believe was good for the movie. But this was 100% on the director, because he did not have any direction. He was everywhere. And I just want to read these two short little reviews that I found that really made me feel like, yeah, these two people understood where I was at. Well, the first one I'm going to read, it says, which is to say, this hasn't really stood the test of time for this film, because it's so gaudy, way out there. You know, you could definitely tell it was like in the early 70s or the late 60s, because of the curtains, the furniture, in the house. You're like going, who would decorate with that wallpaper? You know, it just, you can't help but know that what era this movie was made. Once the action moves to New York in the latter 60s, we are shown how much of a city for society's lowlife it was. Okay. LSD or alcohol or sex or all three are the best way forward for this society. Today, for me, it makes for an abysmal viewing, because I had never seen this before. And with little to comment, it is as entertaining despite its cast. Okay. Policemen are certainly not wanted in the city by some, and even the women think it's fun to see such an individual being kicked or punched. Not even for me. I mean, this person was like not happy with this movie at all. They just thought it made New York City just look like a rat infested, nasty place. No one would ever want to go there. Well, if that's what New York was like, I would never went. I would never have gone there. And I have been there. I have relatives that live in the state of New York, and we have to travel through New York, go to New York City every so often, and it wasn't like that. I went to a couple of bars. I went to a few things. It never looked like that. Now, it wasn't in that era exactly, but everyone wasn't plastered. Everybody wasn't a slut. Everybody wasn't a dick. You know, it just made New York look really bad. So whoever put that stuff in the script hated this city. And the other one was, I am as big a Clint Eastwood fan as the next guy, having thoroughly enjoyed Dirty Harry and all its screen incarnations. But this effort, eventually a transition between Clint's man with no name persona and his arrival as Dirty Harry. And that's what I said, because I've never seen this before. And I felt, and I told Bruce stuff before I found this, that it looked like they tried to take a spaghetti western and cram in some city shit, make him look like he's from, back then, like wherever, from the old South, and bring him in. And that this is how they do it in the South or something. I don't know. It just was a jumbled mess. But little things that he was saying was that this movie just is shit. They made him look like a bad guy. They took what I wanted from the other movies, the other four movies that we had already watched, and they basically did this and threw it in the dumpster. That's how I felt, and I was very let down by it because when he's standing there looking at the woman being groped by the guy, and he stands up for her, that's what I expected from him. But in the very next scene, when he takes her back to her apartment, he takes it away and throws it in the bin. She means nothing. He just said what he had to get to her apartment. That was it. And I just couldn't take that out of my head after that. So it just ruined it for me. And my score for this movie is like a 45 out of 100. I think this is the lowest score I've ever given to me so far out of all the movies that I've seen with Clint Eastwood in them, not just the ones that I've never seen that we just watched the last couple weeks. This is the worst movie I've ever seen him in. I hated this movie. I just thought it was very bad, very cheap slop is what it was. They just threw a bunch of women with boobs in it to get men to go see it, I guess, because they're going to see macho Clint Eastwood in it, that kind of thing. And that's it. That's all this was. It was a TNA movie and a guy getting to kick ass and take the women whenever he wanted. So if that's what you like, if you think that is entertainment, then this movie's for you. If you want a movie that has a plot and a guy that's fighting against the established for the betterment of people, this is not it. So that's how I looked at it. And I don't recommend anybody go see this movie unless you like groping women and seeing TNA and a guy that likes to just do whatever he wants and push everybody around, a bully, basically. Then this movie's for you. There you go. I'm done.
Well,
I
come
feel
back next week for us to see the film, the great movie that I've been waiting to see for quite a while, Two Mules for Sister Sarah.
Mhm.
And we're going to watch that. Me and Janet, we've got a couple more films after that before we start our ascent into the greatest 5 movie series that has ever been put to film.
Mhm.
And once we do that, we will continue to go through the Clint Eastwood chronology back in its order, the way it should be.
Mhm.
But I feel that I want to watch some Dirty Harry films. And after watching this movie today, I really want to watch Dirty Harry films because this was a film that I didn't expect this movie to hit so poorly. And I'm sure back in the day this movie hit quite a bit better. The reason I say that is that there's 95% audience review score or critic review score on the Rotten
Critics
Tomatoes.
always view different than we do. But can I
But
add one thing real quick?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I'm sorry. When you were talking about this was like an intro into Dirty Harry, I think it's opposite of that. What I think is they went back and looked at the past of them working together, and they went, "Yeah, this is what I wanted, but that's not how it turned out." So I would like to take that movie and make it what I was hoping it was going to be. That's what I think. I think they went through and fixed all the problems they had with who he was. You know what I mean? His character wanted to be, but wasn't. And that's why Dirty Harry was so good.
Okay, you're entitled to that. You can go there.
Okay.
I feel this movie has a hint of the promise to come that we will receive within the box office and the ticket masters. We're going to see some really good stuff from Clint. We just got to, understand that Don Siegel has a bad day, and sometimes somebody's niece or nephew has a script that we just absolutely have to use. It's not just always, you got to put my niece or nephew in this fucking scene, and ruin like everything we did up to this point. No, sometimes, no, my aunt, she does music, let her in the booth and she'll get the movie scored for you. And I think that something like that probably happened with this movie. And I want to say that there's so much better out there that I know is the truth. There's going to be some really good Clint Eastwood films coming. Don't you worry, young man and woman. We got Tightrope. We have In Line of Fire. We have Gran Torino. There's a bunch of really good Clint Eastwood films. And every one of you out there that likes good movies should probably be familiar with the movies I just mentioned. If not, you can talk to me and Janet. We'll get you in the Discord. You can come watch it with us.
Hmm.
You can hear my obscene echo until I get a rug to tie it all together and deafen the sound a bit. But I really think, give us a little bit of time. We're gonna get some greatness. Clint Eastwood is a fucking bankable guy in Hollywood. He's really one of the few people that made Hollywood what it is today, and I'm so happy that he has never really wavered and turned into something else like a Jimmy Kimmel or somebody else who just compromised other values. He's been more Adam Carolla than anything else throughout his whole time, and I'm very happy that Clint Eastwood is who he is. I just know that sometimes you have to take the good with the bad, and a lot of his early stuff, aside from Rawhide, I'm thinking that it really was not as good as a lot of people want to say it is. They got the rose-colored glasses on. Rawhide was great. Don't get me wrong. Having that character mature over the 9 years it was there is fantastic. But it took him 9 years to build that legacy. And then, we finally got some good Clint Eastwood films in theaters, Fistful of Dollars. Then, you got 5 years later, you got the Dirty Harry stuff coming out. And there's some really good Clint Eastwood films we got between those two periods. So just give us time. This is a bad spot. Uh, Depending on how I'm feeling, we may or may not see the movie called Bedeviled, is it? It's the one where he's the wounded Civil War soldier and he goes into a house, The Beguiled. We might not see him in that. But after Two Mules for Sister Sarah, we're going to watch Kelly's Heroes because that's an absolute must-see movie for Janet. She's never seen it.
I've never seen it. No.
Telly Savalas, fucking Sutherland. You got Carol O'Connor, and I mean Don Rickles just being an absolute bastard in that movie. So she needs to see it, and I want to watch it again. So, Janet, you have anything else to say before we get out of here?
No, but I'm glad I watched it. I mean, the thing is, not everyone has every actor has a bad movie, and it wasn't really him. He was just acting a part. So I know it's not him that's out there treating women like dirt. I mean, at least I've never seen anything like that in the news or anything. But it proves that when he gets a part, he plays it. And it just wasn't a good part for me, for him. But I just think the director didn't direct. I mean, that to me, that's what it boils down to. It's all on the director. If the director doesn't make sure that everybody does their jobs the way they're supposed to, and the script is good, and that kind of stuff, then not much you can do about it. You can have a really good actor, but if they have a shitty script, it's really hard to make the movie good, even if you got a great handful of actors in it. So it's not all on the actors. Just to me, I'm putting this stuff on the director, and I haven't done that very often because.
Well, there's a movie that we will not watch, and it's not Willy's Wonderland, but there's a movie called Tiptoes with Matthew McConaughey, Kate Beckinsale. It has the dwarf guy from Game of Thrones, and then it has Gary Oldman. And that movie's got so much talent in the star power that it should provide its own power plant. It's that fucking like deep on star power.
Mm-hmm.
And it's got the dumbest idea behind it, where this guy is scared about getting married to this woman because he doesn't want to show her his family's all dwarfs. It has a little blonde-haired dwarf chick as his mother from Total Recall.
Yeah.
It's got Gary Oldman walking on his knees with his hands kind of tied behind his back, so his arms are articulated to where they don't look so long. And he's walking on his knees in the film. Gary Oldman. Gary motherfucking Oldman is in this movie walking on his knees.
When does this come out?
2002, I think. 99 or 2002. Tiptoes. Oh, I showed you the trailer, but the trailer is the best part because it's a 2.5 minute long trailer
Mhm.
And let me see if I can find this because it just absolutely shits all over one of my favorite icons of Hollywood.
Well, why do you think he took the part?
I don't know why he
And
did.
was the movie written by a dwarf?
No, no, it was not written by a dwarf.
Because in high school, one of my best friends was a dwarf.
One
I
thing,
thought she was beautiful, but everybody treated her like, nobody treated her like she was a dwarf, but she was, and she drove a pickup truck and everything. I mean, she was just badass.
so the
And
Incredible Hulk.
so
Go fuck yourself, Lloyd. No, no. Gary needs the money back, man. Okay, I'm going to share with you the ass end of this trailer. There are certain things I'll take a hit for. I'm not going to take a hit on this. This movie.
Arquette, and in the role of a lifetime, Gary Oldman. Arquette, and in the role of a lifetime, Gary Oldman.
Janet, that is like the comedy gold equivalent of Midnight Meat Train for me. Okay? That movie is such trash. Trash. Trash.
did you watch?
I can't emote enough. Exclamation marks, all caps. Trash.
Well,
Sorry.
Lloyd Christmas said something about watching Incredible Bulk. The
Oh,
next
God,
time
no.
I take a trip,
No.
you guys can
No.
watch it like you did hundreds
No.
of beavers.
No, we
I
can't.
wasn't
We
around.
cannot. I would
'Cause I don't
rather
wanna see it.
beat my dick with a hammer or a mallet
I
or
don't
a
want to see
sled.
that either. I
I'd
don't
rather
wanna see
do
any of
that.
shit.
I don't want
Not
to watch
at
the
all.
Incredible Bulk at all. I don't want to see
No,
that.
I don't want to
That's
see it. Have you
we
seen
have
it, Lloyd Christmas?
no.
Have you seen that movie? I'm asking Lloyd Christmas in the chat. Have you
I'd
seen
rather
it?
watch Suburban Sasquatch.
I don't know what that is either. Never heard of it. But
Suburban
no.
Sasquatch is really bad movie that somebody gave the guy the ability to print DVDs, and he did. And then on his DVD for this movie he made, he has a director's commentary where he has like a director's commentary. Most director's commentaries are kind of okay. His, I don't know if the guy is on like some psychedelics or what, but the way he's talking about his film and the film that we saw, it does not match up. It does not match up at all. And then worse yet, there's a scene where he's on in the DVDs in the menu, special features. He wants to talk to you about this film. He's sitting on his couch like it's episode 1, and he's telling you about what he wanted to achieve with Suburban Sasquatch.
Mhm.
And I've never in my life, for the life of me, I've ever thought of any of my work ever being anything more than like something you read or watch whenever you're drunk or high. A sober mind doesn't follow me. I'm an Oliver Reed fan. I'm kind of going for that crowd. I know my people. But this guy that did Suburban Sasquatch, I'm so
Well, what
sad.
is it? The movie? What's it about? It's about a guy that turns into a Sasquatch. I mean, instead
No,
of a
it's about a
werewolf.
Sasquatch that goes around a small town killing people, and
Oh,
it's bad.
it's a horror movie.
It's a no, it's a schlock horror movie, but there's absolutely zero value schlock in it. Like
But
the
yeah,
worst,
I don't really go for schlock.
you would enjoy this film. You would enjoy this movie for the fact that you would then appreciate other movies that have come before it and after it, and have since
Is it
gotten the
schlock
word
like
movie fixed.
American Badass schlock?
It's just so much worse than FDR American Badass.
And I definitely don't want to see it. I almost threw up watching that movie. And the same thing with that other one
It
with
would
the
be.
black sheep. couple scenes. I was so embarrassed when we watched that. Oh my God. I don't ever want to, I'm never going to ask anyone to watch it with me anymore.
You know what I want to do, Janet? I want to go with you and like have dinner with you and your family and your sisters. And in the middle of the dinner,
Oh my God.
I just want to I want your sister Sandy to ask me, Bruce, what is the most treasured time you've ever spent with my sister? And I won't have anything juicy like there was a time we had like grade 6 or something like that because we've never done that, never will probably. But it'll instead be like there was this movie we watched, and Janet and I weren't really expecting the scene to happen, but this character on this movie on camera, it was in the script that he takes his shit into a mason jar, and I'm pretty certain that wasn't a special effect.
It wasn't. It was
I'm pretty certain he actually saved up his poo all day, and then afterwards he took a poo and he took a shit in a mason jar on camera. While everybody else is going balls crazy, you got FDR there smoking cigars, screaming "Woo, baby!" trying to be Ric Flair. You've got FDR's wife. She's there. She's kind of smooching on him and the other men in the room. But then there's this one little intern character that he's about 87 or 88 pounds, and he's taking a shit in a mason jar on camera. And they filmed this. And after they filmed it, they printed it on DVD and they sent it everywhere. And now it's on the interwebs for you to see. And that was the most enjoyable time I've ever had with your sister. Talk about that.
That's horrible.
I get to see the trees talking in Da Nang whenever Janet speaks about this. I see the PTSD in her eyes.
Ugh.
That movie hit her.
Yeah, it's bad.
That movie hit her in a way that she just wasn't expecting. And
that other movie, Black Sheep.
That movie doesn't even compare to the bad.
No, but the one scene with the when the brother opens the door and he sees his brother stand there in front of the window with no pants on, but he's got his shirt, he's got socks on and no pants, and he's smoking a cigarette
hanging down over his dork.
And he's smoking a cigarette, and then he goes, "What are you doing?" And then you see this sheep come running and going, bah, and I'm like, "Oh my God, it's disgusting." So that was
such a cute little sheep too.
It wasn't as bad as the poop one, but that scene was more than I wanted to see. So I just say, I have put up with some stuff. So you gripe about one movie, G.I. Jane and Bad Girls, which have gotten you a lot of views. Bad Girls has gotten you a lot of views because a lot of your viewers like that movie. So
that the movies the Twilight films, they sold a lot of tickets, but I never agreed with the idea of a 40-year-old Twilight mom with a box wine going to go salivate over Robert what's his fuck at a theater. But maybe it happened. I don't know. But I just can't wait to be at the dinner table with you and your 4 sisters. And one of your sisters asks me the tender question, what do you love so much about my sister Janet? What is one of your best times you had? And I'm like, when he took a shit in a mason jar and me and Janet didn't know what to do. And the only thing that would have made that scene better is if we would have been together hanging out and Janet would have had like one of my waste baskets and she would have grabbed it and just
I might have threw up in it, because if I'd been there with you and you made some certain comments or something, I might have would have thrown up. So
I would have put it on camera, because like that I
would have been really pissed off.
That's okay. That's okay. I can handle your anger. I can handle your worst. You're one of my best friends, and don't worry, I got you on this. But like seriously, I would have.
I didn't even give that movie as low a score as I gave this one. So. This
movie here is your record. This is
my lowest score ever so far.
And that's saying quite a bit for you to fucking rip a movie down like this.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm there going like, no, this movie it's horrible. Don't get me wrong, but it's in the same way horrible that the movie Dark Star is horrible.
Yeah, that wasn't
And
very good.
I think both movies could be comparable to each other.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly feel that way. Um, if I do win the lottery, it won't happen, kids. Don't bank on it. What I'll do, I'll have a studio set up on property, and Janet can come over on Sundays from like 1,200 miles away, and she could come out and watch bad movies with me, and we can eat microwave popcorn together and laugh our asses off, and then I put her back on the plane, and she gets to go back to her life in Arkansas, yeah, Arkansas, and have fun because I would love to do that. Just have like actually we'll do a whole day of just watching movies during the month. It's Janet's day. My buddies come over for D&D. Oh yeah, that's that weekend. What are you and Janet watch tomorrow? Well, we got 6 movies to watch. And then afterwards she gets on the plane and flies a red eye back home, and she's bleary eyed. And you know, I what did I do to her? Well, we film the review like 2 weeks later, and then we'll premiere it. We'll stagger them out. We'll do it like on sub.
Well, you have, I see in the chat that it said that Lloyd Christmas asked if I had ever watched Borat. No, I've never seen Borat. Now, I saw a bunch of people making funny videos wearing that suit. So I probably wouldn't want to watch it. It doesn't look like, I'd have to watch the trailer. And there's a movie that I got Bruce to finally find the trailer for me, and it was it's got an Asian guy in it. Remember that one? It's something about werewolves or something, and the sword fighting and everything in it. Can't remember the name of it. You no. Mm-mm.
Oh, then you're talking about Pack the Loot.
The one there, he's a knight or something.
Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Yes, that one. I definitely would want to put that on our list.
It's on the list. It's got Marina. It's got
It just looks like it's up my alley. Remember, I loved 13th Warrior, and you didn't really like it that much, but I liked it, and I thought it was great. I thought it was such a good movie, and that reminded me of it. When you showed me the trailer for it, I was like, I really want to see that. And High Tension. I want to put High Tension. It's a European movie, but I still want to put it on there.
We'll watch High Tension, but we're also going to watch With a Friend Like Harry. You're going to make me watch that, I'll make you watch this. With a Friend Like Harry, that's a French film about a very deviant POS and how he integrates himself into the lives of another family, him and his girlfriend. And it's just a bastard gets a hold of a really nice family and just ruins things for them, but it's a good French film.
Well, and also I wanted people to know that one of the movies that I added to the list of Clint Eastwood was Bridges Over Madison County. So that is definitely one of the movies we're going to watch somewhere in there, wherever Bruce decides to put it.
Janet, it'll be in the back 30.
Of his movies?
Yeah, it'll be in the rear echelon, because that's like what, 1990, 1991?
I don't know, but I just know that that's the one I wanted people to know, that I had requested that one because you had said, this, that, and the other, and I requested Paint Your Wagon. So, there's just a couple.
You've been talking about Paint Your Wagon for like 2 years now.
Yeah, I know. Because remember, I was so happy when you started the movie, and I was dancing and listening to the opening scene and stuff, because it was like my mom was sitting in here with me and we were watching it.
This is why I need to get land so I can have a studio in the garage. And Janet, come over. We're filming 6 movies and reviewing and all that.
Because we watched Blues Brothers. I was in my living room. Remember, I set the TV up so that I could put that my little camera facing the TV on one of my bar stools so you could watch it with me. Remember? And I was just dancing around and shit in there because I just love that movie. I still love it. I've seen it like 60 times. I love the Blues Brothers. It's such a good movie, and I was so happy to do the review on that one.
That's one of my probably top 10 movies.
Oh, I just love it. I still love it.
So here's Brotherhood of the Wolf. If you haven't seen this, it's from
this is it. This is the one I want. I can't wait for us to do it.
It'll be later, probably December, because this is a good Christmas movie or a
That's
good
good.
Thanksgiving movie.
That's
You
okay.
got Samuel Lee Bahom, Mark Dacascos.
It's got some great actors in it. Oh, I just can't
He
wait.
was the original TV series Crow. I did not realize that. Jeremy Renner. Not Jeremy Renner, but the French version.
Yeah.
Cassile plays Jean Francois, and he is the real life husband at the time of Monica Bellucci.
Mm.
Emily Queen, she's one of my favorite actresses for the French. Jacques Perrin and Philippe Now. Great movie. Can't really explain it to you, but it takes place during a time where the Beast of Gittervon is.
I had never heard of it until that one day, for whatever reason, you decided to play the trailer, and I was like, "Holy shit! I gotta see this movie." It just looks so good. It just has the scenery and stuff just looks breathtaking. I just can't wait to see it.
Yeah, Cutthroat Island is a great film, and it says I still love that movie.
I was so surprised how good it was, because when you told me it was a box office flop, basically it was the biggest loser for records. I was like, no way, this movie is so good. I liked it. It was fun.
Yeah, we're gonna watch Brother of the Wolf in December. For those of you that there's a lot of reasons we're doing that. I'm talking a lot of movies out of order for this.
Mm-hmm.
One of the main characters, the main squeeze of the movie, Emily de Queen, she was a French actress. She died in March of last year.
Oh, that's terrible.
Adrenocortical carcinoma, and I have no idea what that means, but basically,
it's like some kind of cancer.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm rare cancer in the adrenal cortex, outer layer of your adrenal glands. And she'd been sick for a few years. In the movie, she played an absolute sweetheart, and basically just was like what you want in a supporting actress. And she played a lot of parts. She was in a lot of fucking movies. Brother of the Wolf, Rosetta, Our Children, Close. Oftentimes she's a leading lady, but she really kind of slowed down, and she had this cancer pop up, and it was really bad, and took her out. So we'll do that on her. We will be doing one honorable Chuck Norris film later this year, because we've got to. We must. I mean, the guy is there.
We're going to do the one with him and Bruce Lee when he takes off his shirt and he's all hairy and gross.
Is that really what you think when you see a man's chest?
Well, the way his chest looked in that movie, I just didn't think it looked very good.
That movie, Way of the Dragon, they shot that scene had to be done in all guerrilla style, because Italy.
A great scene. I mean, it was very exciting, and
they wouldn't.
Whatever they did when they shaved his chest to make it look the shape that it was, the way they did that, because a lot of men do that. They'll shave in certain areas and then leave the hair other places and then trim it and stuff. It doesn't look natural. It just didn't look natural. So I didn't like it. I think natural is better.
Well, I've got to say that they filmed the fight at the Coliseum guerrilla style, because Rome would not let them film a fight scene at the gladiatorial arena. They wouldn't let that happen. So they had to go in there. Two cameramen go down this way. Bruce Lee and Chuck go down this way. They meet up. They start the square off, and that's how it is. And that's how they film. That's one of the best fights committed to camera, in my opinion. Although there's better fights out there now. That was up until like 2010, still in my top 10 fights of all time. And I don't know if we will do that. There's another movie that's a Chuck Norris kind of a classic, because remember in in this movie that we just watched, they kind of paraded about how the psychology and how being a parole officer is kind of like a new idea, and we're gonna kind of fix crime, and we're gonna do things different. This is New York City. We're gonna fix the city, and they throw Susan Clark at that position. But this mindset is pretty old, where we think we can do it better because other people tried doing the same thing we did, and we're just gonna do it with a new fancier name, and we're gonna fail, but it'll still be our time to fail versus the people before us.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie that I'm referring to is 1991's The Hero and the Terror, which it's an interesting idea. It's supposed to be a horror movie where Chuck Norris takes on a serial killer. But the problem you have, I know you haven't seen it, because if you had, you've been like, this is a really good film. It fails everything it tries, but manages to be a good film. It's like probably in its top 15 movies. And there's a lot of good Chuck Norris films out there. I could have Janet watch The Hitman, but I think she would complain about how the movie ends. You
can just pick some trailers for me and let me watch the trailers, and I'll tell you which one I really think I want to watch.
I really want to go with the Hero and the Terror, but
okay.
I'll send you 5. I'll send you 5,
okay,
and you tell me which one you want. But like, just for chat's sake, Invasion USA is on that list. She's not forced to pick it. That or Lone Wolf McQuade. Lone Wolf McQuade, probably one of the most manly movies of all time. I'm very happy that our friend Nick Weiser had his panel.
I think I watched that panel.
Lone Wolf McQuade has that movie. He gets the shit beat out of him by David Carradine.
Yeah.
And tossed in his truck. And then they bury him and his truck in the sand of the desert. Chuck Norris wakes up. He's got sand all around him. He literally pops an MGD top.
Yeah.
He guzzles the beer. He puts the truck in drive. I believe it's an automatic. And then he presses the turbo button. And it just roars up out of the sand dune. And that's the most amazing piece of cinema up until Braddock came out of the water with the M60. And if you haven't seen that, we'll watch that too at some point. But there's some really good Chuck Norris cinema out there. We'll watch one of them in the winter months, because we got to do something for Chuck. I don't want to sully his name by reviewing one of his movies, but I do want to touch base on how good of an actor he was for the culture of Hollywood, and how his views were sadly discounted by mainstream as he got older. And it kind of pisses me off if you read about the modern person reacting to Chuck Norris's death. But what else do you have to talk about?
Well, I was going to say, I got a couple videos of Chuck Norris, but I have them on my phone. I don't have them where I can put them up on my computer. Of him kicking ass, with bad guys' asses. So a few of those, but that would be great. But we can do that when we do the
Chuck Norris movie.
Mm-hmm.
That was a prequel beginning. I don't know why they did that, but that's what they did. And it makes sense.
I haven't seen that one, the beginning with Chuck Norris.
Well, Janet?
I haven't watched. I think I've only watched 1 or 2 Chuck Norris movies.
I need you to stay healthy so we can get through all these films that are on our hypothetical list.
I've been doing pretty good, even though my allergies have been bad. As soon as I got off that ship, I was sneezing and I thought I was going to die.
Did you have con crud? No con crud for you?
Remember when I went on the cruise, within 2 days, it was like, what the? I didn't have to take any pills, nothing, because there was no pollen. You're out on the ocean and stuff. And then when I went to the island, there was only one island I remember going, and I had a little bit of itchy eyes. But besides that, I felt pretty good. I guess it was the ocean, seawater, the salt water or something. But as soon as I got off the boat in Miami, I was like, oh my God. And my eyes were like, I just wanted to gouge them out because they were itched so bad that I was sneezing and I got stuffed up. And then it took me like a week after I got back home before my eyes right now are really itchy right now. But it was like, I don't know how, I'm one of those little old ladies. One day I'm going to go and probably live on a cruise ship and just do nothing but stay out and see. So I don't have to take all that shit.
It's
Because
gonna.
they do that now, right?
Yeah, they don't want to pay property taxes. They pay a cheaper price.
A lot of people live on cruise ships. It's really cool. I talked to a bunch of people that work for the cruise lines and stuff now, because that's what Jan does. The guy that helped us get such a good deal. He doesn't work for the cruise ships, but he writes manuals and safety stuff. And I talked to a bunch of other people that work on the boats and stuff, and they were talking about they have cruise ships that have nothing. Almost everyone on it live on it, and they get off for a couple days while they do certain things, and then they get back on the ship. They stay at like Miami or whatever and go visit and stuff, and they can get back on the boat and they live on it. All their meals are cooked. They just lounge around, and I don't know if I could do it because I'd have to have a patch on all the time. One of those patches that I wear on the back of my neck, so I'm not sick. So maybe I'd get sea legs or something and not have to wear a patch anymore. But it sure was nice. I didn't even realize it was like 3 days in, and when I realized I haven't taken any allergy pills, so it was nice for a little bit.
I'm glad you had fun with it. I've been on ships before. I'm good. I wouldn't get back on a boat unless I was pretty much coerced via his gunpoint to do that, like basic government work,
Even when you were getting waited on hand and foot, no cooking, you could have anything you wanted, steak.
I was in the Navy. What do you mean hand and foot? I was a servant.
No, I'm saying if you went on a cruise and other people waited on you, you don't think you'd like that?
I'm good.
Okay, well,
I'm good. I would have to be in and I'd have to be knocking boots the whole time to forget the fact I'm on a boat. I was on a boat for 2 years straight. I'm good. I've had my time. Don't need to repeat it. Don't want to try to relive it. I'm good.
You were knocking boots on the boat?
I would have to be knocking boots on the boat in order to get.
I'm saying you were knocking boots on the boat when
you
were out.
No, I only, as much as I wanted to take a girl in the fan room.
Yeah.
Every time I got off the ship, when I was in another port, even when we went to the exotic port of Port Isabel, Texas, down south at the Mexico border, I made sure to busy myself during the night with the local finery. But I guarantee you that, like, as much as I thought, like, I could bring a girl on the ship and I could probably pork her in the fan room. And then, like, my buddy Jeff would be doing that. And because he beat me to the punch, he went out and he grabbed the first girl he found at the bar, brought her back on the ship. That way they could have the tag, hey, we got fucked on the boat. I
didn't think you were allowed to do that.
You're not. They got walked in on, and he had an NJP. They actually took it up to the captain, and the XO next to it wouldn't let it go to the captain. The XO gave him like 10 days restriction.
Yeah.
Because you're not supposed to bring a woman on board the ship and porking her in the engineering spaces. So that kind of killed it for the rest of us. Jeff is the only one that had the card from the 95 tour. But I'm okay. I would have to, if I went on a cruise, I'd have to be pretty much like rotating through like this list like Clint Eastwood did in his 30s and 40s. Just of like various women that he meets and has sex with, like Baron Munchausen, because that's basically the life of Clint Eastwood up until he bumps into Sandra Locke, which I feel so sorry for him. Of all the women to stop on,
you didn't think the first woman, that the bunk bed girl?
I love her.
She looked like Sandra Locke.
She was hot.
Well,
She
Sandra
was.
Locke had long blonde hair and blue eyes and
There's
stuff.
nothing wrong with long blonde hair and blue eyes, but when you look like a Lego head, like Sandra Locke, I mean that's the problem. Sandra Locke was
That bad.
ugly.
I thought she was very pretty when he was seeing her.
I
Because
didn't.
wasn't he in that monkey movie?
She was in so many movies of Clint Eastwood's that it became a meme later on, and
But
those movies typically are movies that people don't watch.
with it, so it must have been pretty good because he's been through a lot of women.
If from the point of the films we're at right now, the 68, 69, you can watch these movies, and if you look and see which people Clint has the best rapport with, like you can tell him and Miss Johnson were getting it on for the scene for the days she was there on set. I bet you she was getting an extra 6 inches at the end of the day or start of the day with our man Clint. I'm pretty certain of that. Oh no. I'm pretty certain of that. Like Clint made sure every time he went to work, his dick got wet, and up until
pull up her Wikipedia real quick. Just look at it because that picture on there, she looks pretty good. I can see why he was interested in her. And she must have been wild and bad for him to keep going back and want to keep it. Isn't that what you guys always say? Crazy is what you want. You want some crazy chick that's going to claw you up and everything.
Always stick your dick in crazy, Janet. If you ever wake up with a dick one of these days, you must go for the experiment of how it is to stick your dick in crazy, and that way you understand what's going on. This is Mrs. Melody Johnson, born October 23rd, 1943. Here she is, the 4 photos.
That's not her Wikipedia.
No, it's not.
Okay.
It's right in the hangman tree. This is her and Clint.
Oh, this is the other girl. I was talking about Lockie.
No.
I just wanted you to see this picture that I pulled up on Wikipedia, and it's on her page when it comes up. She's gorgeous. I can see why Clint was nuts about it. There you go. See, look at that. That's a great picture of her. Black and white photos, boy, they can make you look so damn good.
She's not that pretty in reality. She wasn't, in my opinion, when the films were going, when she's in motion, she wasn't that pretty. I don't think she was that pretty. She might have been to other people, but not to me. And she found Clint Eastwood and hitched her wagon to him, and the Outlaw Josie Wells, Gauntlet, every which way.
Yeah, they were married from 75 to 89. That's a pretty long time for Clint Eastwood.
Yep, and then he kicked her to the curb, and he's like, "Get out of here!" And then he said afterwards, he's like, "You know what? She painted herself as a victim the whole time, and then she got cancer, which just helped her story. But she's not the victim that everybody wants to, think she is. She was not as good as what she thought she was."
I mean, he was married to a woman named Maggie Johnson, and then he was married to Diana Ruse, and then he was with Sandra Locke for years, Frances Fisher, and then Christina Sandria. And it says he has at least eight kids. So he enjoys women. Lots of them.
I mean, he's the closest.
That's why he needs to make so much money.
If you guys can tell me of another actor that has as many kids as Clint Eastwood,
Elon Musk has a lot of kids. He's got like 15, I think, something like that.
Really an actor. He's just a guy with a lot of ideas and an endless pile of money. It seems like because the investments are paying off. But he's doing good. I mean, he's able to. Oh, you're an attractive female. You want to have fuck off money? Let's have sex, and I'll give you fuck off money. And that really is not a bad deal because he's able to do that. He's able to impregnate someone and then be like, "I got you. I got your house. Got your retirement. Just bear the kid. Put up with my bullshit. We'll be fine." And I really like that. The fucking top card on quotes. On Sandra Locke, she plays a victim very well. Unfortunately, she had cancer, and so she plays that card.
Well, I looked it up, and it says that Clint Eastwood had, it says he has, doesn't say the number of kids. Hold on. He has
Lots.
8 children. And then
Lots.
Eddie Murphy has, let's see, where is it at?
Good to see it, John.
Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. He has 9 kids, Eddie Murphy. Shaquille O'Neal has 6 kids, and quite a bit. So there's quite a bit of actors out there that got shit tons of kids.
But I think Clint Eastwood has
Because they
more
make
than
lots
those.
of money. That's why. Because it takes money to raise a kid. I mean, it's expensive. So that's a lot. That's just a lot. Mina Farrow, they have a lot of kids, but they adopted a bunch, didn't they?
That doesn't count. They adopted. That does not count. No, disqualified.
It says that
Mina
Nick Cannon is a father of 12 kids. So
probably.
there's a lot of actors. Alec Baldwin has a whole bunch of kids too, but I don't know how many. I don't see the number on there.
Harry Baldwin.
Oh, Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, they adopted and had babies.
No, they adopted so many kids, and she had like 2.
No, she had like a set of twins, and then she had 2 others, so she had 4. She had 4 kids.
Okay, so she does have a moderately well-used uterus. That's awesome. But all of her kids are not her kids.
Well, I hate to say that, but guess what? 2 of my sisters have a different mother than I have. Their mother died.
I get it.
Had remarried. So that's like being adopted. So I have 2 stepsisters or half sisters. So, to me, I don't look at it that way. If you adopt a kid and you raise them from, and spend all that money and time on them, then you're a parent.
I mean, okay, I can't look at this from a woman's perspective. I'm looking at this from like Wilt Chamberlain. If you are out there and you're out there making money and you're just like, I will give a woman fuck off money if she will just bear my kid, let it suckle on her teats, and raise the little shit and make sure it doesn't go to prison, I'll be happy as fuck. And that's exactly what we do. And that's what Elon Musk did. That's what Bezos is doing.
Okay, Kris Jenner, didn't she have a lot of kids?
I don't know.
I think she had a lot. Like 6 kids or something.
She might. I mean,
they got a lot of stuff.
I'm impressed if she had that many kids. I know that sounds really.
No, I mean, she had a lot of kids, and they're all good looking. So, even her and Kris Jenner's kids are, good looking too. So
right now, Janet, I'm feeding your.
I think they also used a lot of money for like butt implants and lips and stuff like that too to enhance their looks.
She's really more Fisher Price than human. We used to think that we were going to be replaced by machines or replicants. No, the 3D printer is going to fuck up everything now.
Maybe. Yeah. So.
I'm filling up your Discord with
I have to open
good Chuck Norris trailers right now. So
okay. That's all right.
But I want to make sure before I do other things, I do this. Are you
putting them in my Discord somewhere, or are you putting them in my private?
In your Discord, in your sub channel.
Okay.
Guy movie reviews.
Okay.
You're going to go through 5 of these.
All right.
And you don't even have to review these. You can have your people review these and have a vote taken. Which of these should me and Bruce watch in December? And so far, December is going to be the fastest that we're going to be at a Clint Eastwood season.
Okay.
Which could span a total of like 8 months, which I think is hilarious. Lone for Quake, Invasion USA, Sidekicks, Hero and the Terror. I need one more check north. Delta Force.
Yeah, I can tell you one movie I know I don't want to watch. If you
What?
can, and I don't want to watch it near Christmas or Halloween. Besides the one I already told you I don't want to see, is the one you showed me when you were showing me all the bad movies. Your channels. Remember, you had the little boxes on them, and you said you zoomed in on them. And
Yeah.
the one that you played for me with the gingerbread man. Please, I don't want to watch that one.
You don't want to watch the Gingerbread Man and Gary Busey have a slasher
No,
film?
I do not want to see that movie. So there are so many thousands of other movies that we can watch. So we don't have to watch ones that we know we don't really want to watch. Because if you make me watch anything like that and you say you have to watch it, then I'm going to make you watch Rabbit Test.
Okay. If you do that, then I'm going to go Watership Down.
Okay, so you hear what I said, though? Have you seen the trailer for Rabbit Test?
Rabbit Test, I can guarantee you.
Test.
Rabbit Test? Okay. If I got to watch Rabbit Test, then you got to bring your grandkids to watch Watership Down with me.
No, there, no way. I will never do that, ever. But you have to watch the trailer of it.
Watership Down is the gold standard of what the projector was fed into the fucking extra classroom for elementary students.
Who's in that one?
That's an animated feature
Yeah.
of a community of rabbits, and it's one of the most bloody movies ever animated.
I never heard of it.
Where were you?
I
What
never heard of
happened?
it. I never.
Were
I
you,
just.
were you at a
I
public
didn't
school?
hang with. I was living on another planet, just like I said.
Good God! Like everybody I know has seen Watership Down.
I've never heard of it. So
Me
my
too.
sisters haven't seen it. I can tell you that right now. So it's not everyone that you know.
Watership Down is a critical movie. That movie there is almost as traumatizing. It's part of the traumatizing trilogy. Watership Down, Return to Oz, and you've never seen Return to Oz with Fairuza Balk? Okay, we'll have to watch that. And then after that, we get to watch Secret of Nim, which everybody thinks is a really good movie. It's a really cute movie. If you look at that movie and you look at the fucking dialogue, that should fucking scare the shit out of your kids. For like anytime big government and big pharma get together.
I love that movie.
Oh my God.
And the other one about the Fern Gully with Tim Curry. I love that one. It's a good one. Too. Animated movie.
Episode of South Park that's a great parody of Watership Down. And like people are in the chat now, dude, Watership Down's good. Have you never seen it?
I've just never seen it.
I mean, that's one of those things that you feed your child movies like Watership Down, Incredible Journey, Where the Red Fern Grows, Old Yeller, and that way they can see.
I watched the Incredible Journey, and let's see, what was the other one?
You put the Incredible Journey in front of Where the Red Fern Grows and Old Yeller because you have these three films, and the first one ends all happy day, sunny. All three animals make it home. Even the old dog makes it home. And then you watch Where the Red Fern Grows, and your child is a grieving, sobbing mess because both golden retrievers die. The mountain lion kills the boy, and the girl is grievously wounded. She crawls up on his gravesite and expires there. And then you have your kid watch Old Yeller, and it's another great movie. That's such a good movie. And you force him to sit there, and you hold his head. You hold the kid's head and make him watch the fucking TV the last 8 minutes of the show as he's crying, sobbing. His pores are.
I don't do that kind of stuff to kids.
Oh my God, you got to do that. You got to.
You will watch this movie. You have to understand Odd Yellow's situation. If you do not understand Odd Yellow's situation, we'll rewind the film and you will watch it again from the start of the trauma.
It's terrible. Then they need psychiatrist
Raising
help.
children is an art. I haven't done it yet. I can't wait.
What? Which one?
What?
Which one are you talking about?
I said raising children is an art.
Oh.
I haven't done it, but I can't wait to try it.
Mm.
I had a girlfriend at the time, years and years and years ago, that she she broke up with me because whenever Bruce wanted Zug Zug, like the kids, they had allergies and shit. And I recognized this, and she kind of did, but she didn't. So I would be pretty generous with a Benadryl and be like, all right, this is for your allergies, you know, and like within like 20 minutes, the kids are like passing out at the table and like, okay, well, why are the kids all sleepy? Because you don't give them fucking Benadryl, they need Benadryl and they've got allergy issues. And then like about a half hour later, you know, we're crawling into bed doing the Zug Zug and finally clicked with her. Like, Bruce is giving the kids the Benadryl. It does help their allergies, but you are a shitty parent because you're not giving your kids Benadryl. And worse yet, Bruce is giving them Benadryl. That way they have allergy treatments, but at the same time, he's doing it getting your vajayjay hole.
Yeah, you know that there was a woman arrested for having a daycare, and she would put these little patches on the kids, and they would sleep the whole day because the parents were wondering why they would never sleep when they got home. It's because she just put them to sleep while they were at the daycare, and she didn't have to worry about them.
Genius.
And then one of the kids went home and had the patch on still. So the parent had found out about it. And that's when they closed it down because she was basically drugging the kids all up.
Okay. So anyway, now that you guys know that I'm a terrible person, I want to let everybody know we'll be back next week to watch the great movie, not Paint Your Wagon, but Two Mules for Sister Sarah. Appreciate everybody being here for the past hour and a half that me and Janet blew past the film and talked about our own personal lives.
Yeah, 2 hours.
2 hour mark. It was not a bad film. You know, I enjoyed this movie because this is a peek at what's to come. You're like, okay, fine.
Well, it had 2 good scenes in it, and at least I got that out of it. That, you know, I'm not trying to be. I wasn't trying to be mean. I was hoping it would be good, and it started out great. The beginning first 15 minutes, I guess, I thought was great. It was after that one scene, I just went, and it got worse and worse and worse. So, hey, I'm not the only one because I went and looked. There's a lot of bad reviews.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of bad reviews in this movie, but it's kind of weird how the class of individuals called reviewers, official reviewers, think this movie is actually something special, and I really disagree with it.
Well,
okay,
if you want to get good reviews, you have to go to the right people and pay them good.
Thank you, everybody, for coming today to our wonderful special for A Girl, a Guy, in a Movie. My name is Bruce Lombardo. Today with me was my friend Janet. She will be with us every episode from here on out. Thank you ever so much, and I look forward to continuing Clint Eastwood season, possibly into the 2027. Thank you.
Oh, my goodness.